perspective on life than I do. I'm enjoying it here, and you guys think I'm like I'm in crisis.
Right. Well, that's the first thing I thought. We're recording now. Dan's the first thing. Fred and I have been on this Zoom for about 15 minutes. Then Dan pops on, and he's still at the trailer, and both of us basically at the same time we're like, Dan, what is this cry for help?
So obviously you can't do work up there because there's snow. So why are you there? Just because you like the coziness of it?
So what do you mean by work?
Well, I thought you had lots of. Usually, you're up there doing jobs and
the jobs are wrapped up. Except I got to do a couple of jobs for me now. Winter arrives, so there's that.
Well, but you showed us a shot of the. It looks like winter has arrived there. It's got winter is snow and it's cold and the lake is skinned over. Winter.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's right. You got to plow all the snow off your lot onto mine, right?
That's right.
Here we go.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's winter wonderland up here.
Make sure you push it right against my trailer, eh?
Actually, if I were you, I would just as I've suggested before, just store everything in his attic room there. He doesn't mind that.
Oh no, it's full. It's full of my stuff. Can't do that.
Oh well, he'll take your stuff out.
And then replace it with throw it out on the lawn. Yeah.
That's right, and replace it with snow. All right, before we start the show.
Here's to the guys with the cool podcast about weather and dicks and getting old fast. Interesting, all Canadian brew is waiting for you. Humble H and Freddie P right on the cans. If you don't get it now, you're not real fans. Interesting, all Canadian brew. You know what to do. Interesting for the beach or the dock. Going Dan's got a big cock. Interesting. Yeah.
Humble and Fred's All Canadian Interesting Ale still available for the holidays at Stonehooker. As part of their 12 days of Beermas, whatever they're doing. They have an Advent calendar. It's actually 24 days. And in each day, they feature a different Stonehooker favorite. And ours is the 12th day, Humble and Fred's Interesting All-Canadian Ale.
Yeah, they're still moving that beer. It's moving, and it's moving well. And it's amazing what a good beer will do for you. Because, again, it's tasty. So there you go. Right through Christmas, you can purchase Humble and Fred beer and make it the centerpiece of your conversations at all your Christmas gatherings.
Yeah, how would that conversation go? You got a beer in front of you and people basically gather around and go, who the fuck is that? Who's that exactly?
Although in all reality, during these gatherings and this craft beer thing, I often do that. If I see someone holding a beer that I don't recognize the label, because the labels are a lot of them are so much fun nowadays, I investigate verbally.
I'm sorry, Eric. I'm sorry. A fantastic insights from you as always.
Oh, yeah.
Where are these gatherings you're at? Where are these get-togethers?
I gather.
Are you gather?
I gather.
You do some gathering that you're not telling me about?
So does your investigation include drinking the beer then too, or you just take a look and read the can and take it away from the drinker so you can be a observer?
You turned your mic off there by mistake there, pal. I don't know why you do that.
I've got a bit of a throat thing going on, boys.
Sorry.
Not sickness, just froggy.
So to answer Dan's question, which I don't think I can repeat. What is it? Dan, do the question again.
Oh, so do you go up to the attendee of your event that you
a party goer or gathering?
Gathering, yeah.
A gatherer.
And actually then try the beer? You say, can I have one of those?
You know what? Are you asking him if he walks up to strangers and says, here, let me have a sip of that unusual beer?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Why couldn't you just say that? Why do you have to Dan Duran eyes the question?
I don't know. I don't think the same way you do.
Do you ever walk up to people who are drinking an unusual beer and just say, hey, let me have a swig of that?
I wouldn't say all the time.
Like we're in grade 8.
Yeah.
I could see why you guys are paid to be funny. You're being hilarious right now. no, in those situations, often in the summer too, when people are drinking different beers, it's, oh, what's that you're drinking? And somebody may say, oh, it's this, Bob Cajun Dockside. It's 2.5. Oh, yeah, and it tastes good. Here, do you want a little bit? And they may grab a little glass or something and give you a sip, and then you go, oh, that's good. I'll think about that the next time I'm in the beer store.
Well,
These are the things that happen with normal functioning people. Okay?
I can see why you're not paid to be a storyteller. No, that was very. No, listen. You're not gathering at any. You're not gathering. There was no gathering. Dan's the only guy that ever gathers. Dan's still being dragged along to gatherings. You and I have given up.
Yeah, it's funny over the years. Remember that when you were younger? December would hit, and it would be like, okay, on the 7th, we got to be here, and on the 14th is the family thing, and the 21st, we got to go over to Gus and Linda's. And that
Gus
kind
and
of
Linda's
thing.
place,
That's all.
yeah.
That's gone. That's gone.
Yeah.
Nobody invites me anywhere.
I saw this. This weekend. And I thought I got to share this with the boys. It says life is a constant balancing act between wondering why you weren't invited to something and wondering how to get out of it. That is me right there.
That's so you.
I want to be invited, but I really don't want to go. I just want to know I could have.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's like a switch went off with me. I remember life when there was like and it didn't matter what it was, a family event or friends getting together and being excited all week for the day to arrive so that you could go and enjoy some socializing. Now it's like, if there's even a hint of having to go somewhere, it's like, oh, shit. But anyway, that's not going to change.
I managed to not go with Lisa yesterday.
That's why you're hiding in your trailer.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah. She went to a family gathering about an hour and a half or an hour away from Peterborough for the reason that her aunt, or I think it's her aunt, which I've met a couple of times, she was singing in a choir, and there was some sort of Christmas concert that they had gone to along with Lisa's parents. And they've been planning this for a while, and when they got there, they found out that the aunt, the only reason that they're going there, had some sort of back issue and was in pain and couldn't go to the concert. So they went to this concert that she wasn't at. So they'd gone out to all this trouble to watch a concert without their relative that was at the event. So
I'm sorry, the relative was performing at the event?
Relative was performing at the event, but was not.
What did that have to do with you getting out of the event?
Nothing to get out of it, but it's one of those events that I'm sorry.
No. I'm just curious. No, because I just
thought it was funny that somebody would travel for a family event,
right? When the family person didn't show up. I get lost in your story sometimes because I keep looking.
I understood that one. Okay. I understood that one.
I know, but sometimes he's doing these. He Dan Duranizes these stories, and I'm not sure what. I'm keep going. Okay, is the aunt the reason Dan didn't go?
Let me paraphrase it for you. So Lisa was going to a concert about an hour away, because her aunt was going to be part of a choir of Christmas caroling.
Yeah.
So Dan declined going because he thought, I don't really want to do that. Lisa went, only to find out when she arrived that her aunt had a bad back and would not be performing. So Dan thought it quite funny, or, ironic, whatever the word is, that she traveled all that way to see her aunt, and her aunt wasn't performing. So then she had to stand there in the church and pretend she was actually interested in what was happening in front of her.
Okay, well, that's great.
Yeah,
okay, let me see if I can sum it up and make it a little shorter. Lisa's family went to a concert, and I didn't go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you don't think going because your aunt's going to be there and then wasn't is part of that story? I found that warm and pleasant.
If it were a movie or a TV show, it would have been covered by this. Yeah. Dan, do you want to go to the concert? Dan responds, no thanks. Next scene.
I'm a little biased, though, because all my aunts are dead. I have no aunts. Zero aunts, all dead.
Yeah, me
all
too.
Yours are dead too? Yeah. Well,
all aunts are dead. Auntie Ruby was the last one. You know what I forgot? When we completely forgot to do?
The beginning of the show?
Start the show.
Yeah, I haven't started the show. Right. So this episode of the legendary Humble and Fred Show is being broadcast to the world from our state-of-the-art Humble and Fred studio in Toronto, from our Brampton facility featuring a beautiful seasonal lighting display, and from a trailer in the Kawarthas with the Danis Duranus bust. I'm Dan Duran, broadcasting live from the Kyler Manzoon Theater, and brought to you by the Retirement Sherpa, the Chambers Plan, Bodog, our newest sponsor, Ridley Funeral Home, and Kelsey's Original Roadhouse. And now, here are two men who wonder why the hell we're celebrating Siberia today. I mean, it's so friggin' cold there, and it could freeze up the internet. It's Humble and Fred.
I'm not sure what you just meant by that. Because it's Cyber Monday? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, put it together, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Too much thinking?
No, it was good. Darren Frost is on the show with us today. Darren returns. He's got a couple shows he wants to promote, and also... recently, he was in a Facebook feud with another comedian that we've had on the show from time to time. He called Glenn Foster.
Oh, jeez. Okay. That Canadian guy.
That Canadian guy. And I've got the Facebook exchange. It's pretty funny. So
okay.
Darren can come on in a few minutes' time and explain why he thinks Glenn Foster is the C word.
Hey, how about why don't they have an event where they actually fight each other on stage in some small Ontario town?
Yeah, they should do that. Mm-hmm.
What were you showdown?
What were you about to say before I promoted the? You look like you're about to comment on something.
What were you talking about just before that?
Cyber Tuesday, Cyber Monday, whatever it is, Black Friday,
yes.
Cyber Monday.
Reading about all the, is the word scandal? It's just how Black Friday and how Cyber Monday have been. We're getting sort of fucked over by a lot of the big companies. Like Black Friday, they raised the prices a week or so ago and then lowered them back to normal for Black Friday. And there's all sorts of evidence of this. Cyber Monday, I get this big thing from Air Canada. I click through. A flight to Portugal, $330. I'm thinking that's unfucking believable. But that's one way. So I click on it. Boy, $331. And then return flight, the cheapest one's like $980. They get you that way, too.
Yeah, by the way, the $300 flight, you don't get to bring anything with you.
I know.
You can't. You know, like it's carry-ons extra, even like a knapsack. Yeah. So go ahead.
And I'm telling you, fellas, because I've been looking at flights to Portugal a week or so ago, return flights weren't $800 and $900. They were like $7-something each way, so it was like $1,400. So now again, they're offering like $300 and then $900 return. It's like, okay,
so
enough of this shit.
Black Friday, they worldwide global consumerism, $74.4 billion was spent. Half of that number was spent online. So we had Black Friday. Now it's Cyber Monday. Tomorrow is something called Giving Tuesday.
Oh, jeez.
And then there's Diarrhea Wednesday. That's something I just thought I'd throw that in there in case, I don't know. Maybe it's time to, expunge everything you've consumed. But yes.
Can I give you another little Canadian consumer story over the weekend? I use this shampoo. Believe it or not, I wash my hair. It's Old Spice something, whatever. Usually it's around, I don't know, $12.99, whatever. So anyway, I go on my phone and I go on Flip and I see that it's for sale for $7.99 at Shoppers Drug Mart. So I'm going by Shoppers Drug Mart after going to the grocery store. So I pop in to get some of the $7.99. And I go up there. And I go to the shampoo aisle, and there's my shampoo for $13.99.
Come on.
So I'm thinking, that's not right. I call the girl over, who happened to be the manager, and I show her the thing on Flip. I said, it says $7.99. And then she says, oh, sir, read there. It says online deal. I said, oh, okay, well, I'm here now, so I can have it for $7.99. She said, no. You can't. You have to order that online. I said, I know, but I'm here now. So why would I have to? Why would I pay $7.99 online? But here I am. I took the time to come to your store. I'm standing in here. Why couldn't I have it for $7.99? And there was no way. It was priced at $13.99 or whatever. So I walked out of that store without the shampoo. Don't you think that's bizarre?
Do you but if you were arguing for the other side, what do you think the explanation is?
Howard, I can't figure it out because stores now, because of so much online shopping, you think they want people in their stores walking around, seeing other things, buying other things. I don't know.
See,
she couldn't explain it to me.
My thought would be that it's from a different division, or it's a reseller, or it's somebody else is handling, so that they are given an incentive. Like I'm not saying it's right.
Oh no,
or wrong.
I know what you're saying. That's the answer.
Yeah,
that is the answer.
Is that it's probably not even shoppers itself. It's shoppers online aggregator somehow. But so you traumatize some poor young Gen Z.
Listen, I'm the first guy to go. It's not. She didn't make the decision.
You don't think so?
No. And I said that to her. I said, I know it's not your decision, but it just seems odd. They got to clean that up a bit. You're right. That's exactly it. You gave the explanation, but clean that up a bit, because if somebody comes into the store, so now I'm leaving the store with nothing and I go online to buy it. Anyway, to make a long story short, I'm checking around on Amazon. It was even a little cheaper, so I end up getting it on Amazon and cutting Shoppers Drug Mart out of the equation altogether. It's just one of those quirky things that happens along the way. That was my Sunday. Over to you.
That was your entire day then. Fantastic.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you're I don't know what the word is. You're something that I would see for me just on the convenience. I don't have the same. I'm obviously nowhere near as principled as you, because if I saw it for $7.99 and it was in the store for $12.99, I would have said to myself, well, I'm here now. And for the $4 difference or whatever, $3 difference, for me to get into my car and drive home and order it online and wait the couple of days, that would be worth the difference of $3 to me. I'm just saying, to me.
No.
I know you're. Listen. I know you're special. You're a special boy.
No,
but I'm not.
I think give it. I know what you're saying.
I wouldn't get lazy.
The car and drive. I wouldn't drive to another store. I mean, going home, where, believe it or not, I would go anyway.
Wait. No, I know. You were going.
I would
anyway.
go home and sit in a chair and order it online to save $5. Yeah, call me crazy.
It wasn't $5. It was like $4.
$7.99 to $13.99. Howard, it was actually $6. Okay,
8 to 14. All right, $6. Okay,
hello.
Sorry, my people are normally pretty good at math, but
here we go.
What do you mean, oh boy? Anyway, let me just finish this thought.
So you order 3. What is that, Howard? Do that math.
18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now it starts to make sense, doesn't it, Mister?
Were you ordering 3?
Of course, at $7.99. What do you think? I'm stupid?
For the sake of $5-ish, I would have just taken it and gone home and shampooed my long hair.
Okay.
Well, I respect Fred.
What's that?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Carry on with your.
I know you do. But would you have taken it, or would you have gone home and ordered it, and then waited a couple of days?
Well,
me, I would have probably done that, because I feel that sometimes when you think there's injustices, that if you just ignore them, there's no friction from the consumer side.
Right.
Then they just keep doing whatever they do, right? So. Yeah. That seems a little bit odd to me, that the online is cheaper and they won't honor their own. They won't price match their own.
So you don't see any benefit. Forget the $5 or $6 even. You don't see any benefit from just going, oh well, I'm here now. I'll take the shampoo. I'll go home and I won't have this aggravation. I won't have this incident of. I'll just say, okay, yeah, that's how this is going today. I'll just enjoy this and
happy-go-lucky, happy-go-lucky Howie.
Seriously,
floating through life.
And so you don't respect that. Yeah, you don't respect.
No. I respect you, Howard. That your threshold is different than mine. So if it was under $1, I wouldn't. Yeah. This wouldn't be a thing. But I think your threshold is probably around $6-7 or something.
No,
you've all missed the point of my story.
No, I know your point. I got your point. I think I did. Let me finish what I was saying, though, about... I know it's an inherent laziness in me, and the convenience combined with the laziness of not wanting to bother, of being right here with the shampoo bottle in my hand. That's why I would do it. Because to me, it would be like, I'm here and I'm happy-go-lucky. Why do I want to have another couple of days of aggravation waiting for my Old Spice, my fucking Old Spice shampoo? Can we even talk about that? I'm waiting for my Old Spice, the shampoo people. I'm sorry. What part of the story did we miss?
Well, like anything else, there's more to the story. If this was a case of, like, having to jump in the car and go to a different location, yeah, I probably would have. Well, number one, too, let me get this out of the way. I wasn't totally out of shampoo. I was getting low. And I'm the type of guy that thinks before I run out, I want to make sure I replenish this.
Yes,
I don't know.
Course.
It's just something ridiculous in me, I guess. Anyway, so it wasn't...
No one, who you were defending yourself against? No one has any qualms with you buying
because
in advance.
Next thing you're going to say is, who cares if you run out of shampoo? I'll just use dish soap.
Oh, yeah. You don't anticipate.
Yeah, no, that's just
I'll just put some Comet and some olive oil.
Happy-go-lucky Howie.
Exactly.
Who's that guy that just danced into Shoppers? Oh, it's Howard Glassman. He's got a dance in his step.
He's he's happy. He's not aggravated by the friction of the economy.
So I wasn't out of it.
Oh, okay.
So I was replenishing it.
Right.
And again, the gist of my story, the point of my story is that I go in there and shop. I show them on Flip. It says Shoppers Drug Mart. It's them. And again, what the system is underneath that, I don't know. I'm just a consumer. So it just seems odd that I go in, I show them a Shoppers Drug Mart deal, for $6 less, and I can't have it in the store. I can only have it online. Just seems an odd system to me. That's all.
Well, it might be odd if it were 20 years ago, but I don't think it's so much.
I get it.
I don't think it's as odd now that there's a different price online. And
I have to get used to it. Yeah.
Well, and back to my point about the amount of money spent, I guess on Friday or the Black Friday weekend. Half of that was spent from the comfort of somebody's home. I know it's a fault of mine that I just don't have. Like, I would have bought that shampoo, and yes, it would have been a $6 difference, but I would have, because of course I would have been out of shampoo. I'm washing my hair with, olive oil and soy sauce.
Right.
But I would have physically wanted to just say, okay, I've got this now. I'm going to take it home. By the way, if I may just finish this by saying, I buy a lot of household items online, almost universally now. And I'm talking about, and part of it is for the convenience of going, I'm out of shampoo. I'll buy it right now. What I think of it.
Okay, I agree. We all have our own wants, desires, and habits.
Yes, we do.
Two attachments to this story, though.
So there's extra attachments.
Yes. So when I get home, I look, what is the process for ordering from Shoppers Drug Mart?
Yeah. So what's that all about?
Get a load of this. The $7.99 shampoo, the delivery charge was $8.99. No word of a lie. Okay? So Shoppers Drug Mart has a delivery charge. It's not like Amazon. So obviously the idea is to order in bulk. Number two, when I was talking to the manager at the store, I was asking her about the process for online ordering. She says, we're tied up with Canada Post. If you go to a Shoppers with a post office and order it there, right, you don't have to pay a delivery charge, but you have to pick it up there. And I said, that's great, but there's a problem. Canada Post is on strike. So could I have it for $7.99 considering that? And she said, no. No. And where is the future of bricks and mortar, really?
Well,
given the habits of these.
Well, if you think about it, how much more expensive it is to have a Shoppers Drug Mart store than a Shoppers Drug Mart delivery system.
I get it. Yeah, no, it's sad.
It is.
But that's where we're going.
So on the way out, did you would you stomp out of there and you grumbling, and then as you were about to leave, you kicked over the Ferrero Rocher display. Just boom. It's like, then as you're leaving, you kick it over, and they just, but without even looking back, give everyone in the store the finger.
No, Howard, believe it or not, even at this advanced age, walking out, honestly, what went through my mind, I guess I just got to get used to this stuff. This is the way it is. And don't get me wrong, I order lots of stuff online. I do. My Perrier water, Amazon, it's heavy.
Yeah,
I don't have to carry it out of Costco. It's delivered to my door now. It's fantastic.
For the record, I'm not getting, there's nothing you say that I find anything, I am not getting you wrong. I just where we're, obviously I can't add. So I started this in the last 18 months. I've ordered more things on Amazon than I've ever done in my life, and it was because of this household item thing. Because I live alone. I don't have anyone else shopping for me or with me, so I would invariably go do groceries and then go, oh shit, I get back and I forgot I needed Pine-Sol, if I may use that as a brand name. And then I realized, oh shit, you can do all of that on Amazon. And so as I start to run down on things, and big bulky items, like you said, I've reordered toilet paper. I've ordered toilet paper because, I've gone to the grocery store a couple times. I'm like, oh yeah, I needed that. And that's why, to answer the question, or if it's the point of this conversation is the bricks and mortar building. With the pandemic, what's that one, Dan, that Sobe has? Is it called Voila, or their delivery?
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's Voila. Yeah.
Something like that. But I remember the first few times I ordered during the pandemic when you could order groceries online. From that point forward, from March of 2020 to now, I think everybody's habits have changed back to the number of online shopping done on this most, whatever, shopping days of the year.
We've been reluctant, especially with the person I lived with, to do the grocery thing, even during the pandemic, because what happens, I like getting the nice, freshly made Greek salad, in the bubble, in the plastic, freshly made. What happens if that arrives and you look at the bottom and the lettuce is a bit
all wilted and shitty? Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do then?
I know. I'm the same. I don't really. I've did it a couple times during the pandemic. I want to actually go and get the food, but all the other stuff that you get there, like your water, household items, it's unbelievable. I don't know if you do it, Dan. I'm sure you're against it because of the big corporate. But then on the other hand, you'll go into Costco and dry hump fucking quinoa salad.
Yeah, well,
Dan's very selective in his militancy. He is, as long as it doesn't inconvenience him. He's all making a statement.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I do consider the carbon footprint of it. Generally, I will go to Amazon.
You're the guy.
Yeah. Well,
Dan, please continue. Don't let the bad man. Don't let the bad man.
I consider whether or not it's like going to a store and buying a whole bunch of stuff is obviously more efficient than going to Amazon because they deliver, in stages. They won't deliver all of it in one big basket. It comes, throughout the days or whatever that following your order.
Depends,
or in separate packages in the same delivery. It just seems kind of odd.
The packaging thing is definitely, it's not great.
No, I agree. Totally.
That's one of the things that I can. And then there's the the delivery, whatever the greenhouse carbon footprint of delivery is compared to you driving to the store. So I kind of consider that. Usually to support local, I'll go local unless it's something that's a little bit more specific that is harder to find. I don't know, a cluster of rechargeable batteries. That's hard to find. So, but Amazon, you can get, a pack of 10 to 16 for not very much trouble. So,
Dan, I want you to watch this. I brought it up last week, and I think you guys would both enjoy it. But Dan, specifically, you would find it fascinating. Not that Mr. Patterson wouldn't. I mean, we have to include everybody. This Netflix document called Buy Now. It's all about this kind of similar subject of consumerism and footprints versus driving versus packaging versus convenience. What I have done... I do it occasionally, but more so lately, is I'll go to smaller little grocery stores, like in Mimico over there, where San Remo Bakery is, and Jimmy's Coffee. There's a couple small grocery. There's just little. I don't know what they are. They're small grocery stores, and I like
markets
them.
or something.
Little markets. I like them. They don't have all the selection you would have at Sketchy Sobeys or whatever. The Sketchy Sobeys near me. There's also the good Sobeys, but I like that vibe. I like going into a smaller place and getting meat, and they have other things. If you sort of household, some food, but they don't have any of the packaged goods of sort of the bigger stores. Mm-hmm. But that's also city specific. Like if you live in the suburbs, you don't have access maybe to those kind of places. But I'm much happier, and even if it's more expensive, I'm happier to sort of patronize. What is it to shop there?
Yes. No, you're right. I mean, they're up where we are where the trailers are. There's a little general store just north of us, and if I need certain items, I like to go there during the summer and help them out. It's a few cents, a couple of bucks here and there. I totally get that, supporting your local merchants, especially up there.
I'd rather have them there than not, right?
That's the point.
Yeah.
You don't want them to disappear because,
And I've lived near this Costco for 8 years. I don't have a Costco card. I've had one a couple of times. I don't know. I know you love your Costco, Dan, and it's great. When you were here, you're buying us all kinds of Costco stuff.
See, there's another example. So you got to watch the delivery charges. That's why, as an Amazon member, of course, it's fantastic. But even Costco. So if I order the water through Costco, the Perrier water, the 24 milliliter bottles, 500 milliliter bottles, I have to pay a delivery charge. But if I get the same thing through Amazon, I'm paying roughly the same price with no delivery charge. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So a lot of these places have pretty stiff delivery charges. So if you're super lazy and you don't care, great.
But say it's something like Costco, and a lot of stores are like this. They have a dollar spend threshold. So like if you're at $50 or $60 or $100 for Costco, but usually Costco is more expensive online than it is in the store, just for whatever reason.
You know what my kids do? I'm going to wrap this up because Darren Frost is standing by, and I didn't have this on my bingo card. There's literally 15 other things we're going to get to, and Fred and I are going to get to the Bills game. But I was going to wrap this up by saying Charlie started this when she moved to New York, but I know Spencer and that generation, they're way more likely to order stuff online than we are. And what I'm talking about, this is true. Charlie's office in New York, they think nothing of Uber Eatsing coffee. Like, if they want a fancy coffee from Starbucks, I would never do that. I live 3 blocks from a Starbucks. But Charlie and Spencer in that age group, Spencer works in an office downtown now, and they regularly skip the dishes and Uber Eats like a coffee and a sandwich. I don't know. Again, it's just their mindset's different. It just would never occur to me that I couldn't just go over here and get it.
That's interesting you say that, because, see, Howard, in a Shoppers Drug Mart, when something is $7.99 and I just have to go home and order it, it would never occur to me to pay the $13.99. That wouldn't occur to me. So here you are in it would never occur to me situation. So can you appreciate now my situation? Like a coffee and a sandwich? I totally agree. I would never do that either.
Can I appreciate your situation?
Where is your threshold?
Well,
is it a dollar value?
First of all, I want you to know that I appreciated everything about your situation. I love the beginning of it, the middle of it, the fact that you left there in a huff, kicked over a display of Santa. You kicked Santa Claus in a display in the nuts. No, I'm just talking about. My threshold of convenience is I don't need that much convenience. I could when Charlie was here working one day, because sometimes she'll come for dinner, but she likes to come and she works remotely, so she'll come and spend the day with Dad. And I went out, took Stan for a walk, and I came back and I saw a Starbucks coffee there. I'm like, how did this get here? She goes, I ordered it.
Isn't it cold by the time you get it?
I said, you ordered it? She goes, I just ordered Uber Eats, brought me a coffee. I'm like,
how much does that
So
even
what would
cost?
that-
I don't
what would
even
that
know.
turn into? Like it's expensive coffee to begin with. What is
Absolutely.
it by the time it's dropped
No,
off?
I know.
Jesus.
You know, but the thing is, she's in meetings all day, and she's on her computer, and she's doing this and that. And I'm like, how does coffee get here? She goes, I just ordered it. Like, it's 2 blocks away.
So it's like a $15 coffee by
I
the
don't
time
know,
you come.
Dan. I don't know.
I don't know. I really
no
haven't
idea.
Uber Eated anything, so I don't know how much that costs.
Like, I Uber Eat stuff occasionally. I order on Amazon way more, but then I've ordered food on Amazon. I've ordered peanut butter on Amazon. I've ordered granola on Amazon.
Remember, Phil used to order stuff for us all the time.
Oh, I know. All right.
Hey, it's wildly convenient. There's no doubt about that.
Now, Dan, when you come back, I have found, with the help of one of our listeners, the perfect get-rich-quick scheme for you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I can't wait.
I'll just say it has to do with you developing an OnlyFans page for your wiener. Okay? So that's coming up. Dan's news is on the way.
Crunch the numbers there.
Well,
right?
I've crunched some numbers for you, even though I don't know the difference between $7.99 and $12.99. Also on the show today, we're going to talk about reviving your physical nature for the long winter ahead. And Darren Frost will join us momentarily, but first, Mr. Patterson.
Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan, Canada's #1 group benefits plan for small business. That's what it is. That's what it is. Go to chamberplan.ca today. Find out how your small business can be part of the Chamber Plan. Yeah, it's a great system. All these small businesses get together and, in numbers is force. They're able to buy insurance at very, very convenient and manageable, affordable prices. Okay, that's how it works, and you can be part of it. Just go to chamberplan.ca today. Get all the details on how you can become part of it, and you can buy in at different levels. It's really cool. Maybe start with something basic and then work from there, as HumbleandFredRadio.com Incorporated did. Travel insurance, dental insurance, prescription insurance, therapies available, an HR component, a mental health component, the teledoc system, on and on and on. All right, on and on, just like Stephen Bishop used to sing.
Yeah, baby.
That was his song, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah, on and on.
Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan.
Didn't I
Chamberplan.ca.
I think I played that last week, on and on. I had this.
Did you? Maybe that's why.
Maybe
Maybe
that's why
it
it's
was
in your
like a
head.
brain bug or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe one of those things.
Fred's going to talk a little bit. We're both going to talk a little bit about the football game last night, which was awesome. And Fred will set up the Monday night game for Bodog. But first, what does Bodog have to
Looking
say?
for a way to relax after a long day? Come on. Tired of being notified by life's bells and whistles?
Yeah, I'm gonna need that draft tomorrow.
When you're ready to stop working so hard, you know it's time to play. It's easy to find your next favorite game at Bodog.net. Play free casino games, check out our beginner's guides, and get poker tips. Visit Bodog.net today. # make a play.
Well, it's that time of the year. Everyone's dreaming about the joys that the holiday season brings.
Surrounded by losers, misfits and boozers.
But we decided we'd kick off December with one of our favorite guests. I think he's actually set a Humble and Fred record for most appearances by, I think, anybody, actually. We'll find out, but he's always welcome, and it's great to have him back. He's the angriest, funniest man from Barrie. In fact, it's Darren Frost, everybody. Hello, Darren.
Hello.
Hello. Turn your microphone on. I think, is it just... I can...
Gotta turn it up?
Yeah, a little bit, if you don't mind.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, yes. That's good.
There we go. I am. I've been listening. I've got your old guy list of Costco already. You get your granola from the Costco.
That's right.
You get your adult diapers from the Costco.
Wearing
It's
one
great.
right now.
Yeah.
I like I like the adult diapers with the pictures of animals in a meadow. Hey, funny man, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're
Very
great.
good.
I'm like knee deep in snow up here, but I missed the apocalypse. Luckily, in Barrie, it didn't get like Aurelia or Gravenhurst.
Yeah, Gravenhurst is the government has actually Gravenhurst whatever that little town has declared a state of emergency. I didn't know you could do that, but it's now you're just above. You're in Barrie. Did you get so just above Barrie is where all the snow is, right?
Yeah. So we got some snow, but not like, they told us the apocalypse was coming, but it didn't happen. A friend of mine was stuck on the highway like for 6 hours. So I mean, literally, this has touched everyone that I know. It's pretty crazy up here.
That's why we should always have candles and a blanket in our car.
That's right.
Yes, we should.
And you can order that at Costco.
This lake effect snow thing, even the football game last night, the city of Buffalo, no snow at all. No snow at all. Like 5-6 miles away, 3 feet of snow.
Yeah,
it's amazing how it just tunnels its way off the lake. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I remember last year there was no snow in Barrie, and then Buffalo got like 12 feet in 3 hours.
When I turned that game on last night, and we were just talking about the fact that we were going to have a chat about the Buffalo Bills football game that was fantastic, but I didn't. There's no snow in Toronto. I mean, yesterday was a beautiful day here. It was a couple degrees and sunny, not very windy. I turned the game on last night, and at first I just thought, is this an old game? But just to your point, they showed a shot. Did you see that, Freddie, of downtown Buffalo? And as you say, it was kind of like no snow. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk comedy. We're going to talk stand-up. Glenn Foster is a guy that has also been on our show many times. And I didn't know you had been, we hadn't booked you yet, but I checked the Facebook feed one day and I saw an exchange between Darren and Glenn. These are two people that know each other, and they're people that both of whom have been on our program, and both guys I know pretty well. And the great thing about Frost is this. A lot of guys, they kind of pussyfoot around, what they want to say. They play nice. And especially if, especially on social media,
Who's got time to play nice?
Look,
come on.
I open up my Facebook and here's Frost. Glenn Foster, I've told you multiple times to stop posting on my wall or threads. I don't give a fuck what you think. Glenn Foster, many times, Glenn, but everyone knows about you. You can't take a fucking hint. What the fuck is this all about?
Yeah, what's the issue?
Yeah, what is the issue? What is the genesis of this?
Here's the issue. Everyone can relate to this. This is not even a comedy thing. This is just a person thing. When someone doesn't like someone and they know it, why would you go on their wall and contribute to things that are on their wall? This is not a group. This is not a message board. This is my personal wall. I'm putting my things on there. I've told Glenn multiple times to stop doing it. Every once in a while, he just pops in, gives his little 2 cents. I don't care what he thinks. Fuck him. I don't care. I've told him. I literally yelled at him in a bar once, go fuck yourself, in front of a crowded bar. They all stared at him like, what's that? And he just walked out, bumpadita, bumpadita. It's like, Glenn, take a hint. I've told you to your face. I get tired of telling people I don't play nice when I don't have to. Fuck him.
So what started this feud?
Oh, it's been going on for a long, long time. Glenn is one of the most unaware people that I know. He's just not self-aware. He just cannot read a room, and I don't want to bag on him because I don't like doing it, but he will not leave me alone. So it's almost become now fight or flight, and I'm not going to fly anywhere. I'm going to fight. So
do you think
he's brought this?
Do you think he got the hint this time where you said, I don't give a fuck what you think?
No, because then he said, well, why don't you block me, asshole? And then he blocked me. Why don't you just block me? You're a 12-year-old girl, for God's sakes. This is Facebook. Just go have a life, Glenn. Leave me alone.
So what you don't care about, what he has to say, is it political? Because I know he's somewhat political, isn't he? He's like,
we do not align in politics whatsoever, but it's never been that. The only reason I don't block anyone personally in my business is because when you go, this is weird about Facebook, but if you try to have a conversation with a group of people and someone that's blocked, you can't see what they say. So all of a sudden, a group conversation looks weird, like I have no idea what's going on. Mm-hmm. So that's a weird part of the algorithm on Facebook. So I don't block people unless you make it mandatory that I have to, like you're threatening me, which has happened, as we've talked about in the past, from my comedy or whatever. So there's certain things I do and there's certain things I don't do, and that's just not one I do, and he will not stop, and then he blocked me, so I win.
Wow. That's something.
I wear it on my sleeve. People who I do not like, they know I do not like them.
It's obvious.
Now, have you ever had any physical encounters? I mean, Glenn's a big guy. You're not worried that Glenn finally might wake up, snap, and smack you around?
Well, go ahead, Glenn. You know what? I'll just
do it on the show.
From the 80s over in the corner, you'll just walk to it. Give me a break.
So clearly you're not worried about him.
No.
Does he still promote himself as that Canadian guy? Is that still going on? All right.
Yes. We're all that Canadian guy. That only works when you tour internationally. I'm not the first comic to say that. All of a sudden, this has turned into bag on Glendale.
No. Okay. I had to start with it. I had to start with it because I'd seen it. Speaking of Facebook, here's a little clip of Darren Frost talking about Facebook.
Are you on Facebook, fucky? Good, man. Let's become friends. Yeah. Then I can find out about your shitty life one line at a time. Fuck you playing volleyball at the beach, fucking right!
When I see you on stage, is that character? Is that because? I mean, I've known you for a long time, and you're a pretty sweet guy. We always have a good time chatting.
Yes.
But the look on your face when you're doing your act, is that something that you consciously put on, or is that just something that comes over you?
It just comes over. I mean, is it just an extension of myself? Yes, it is. Am I an angry troll? Yes, I am. I admit what I am. I'm 53. I'm on the other side of life. People have a bucket list of going in a plane and jumping out of it. I have a bucket list of putting people I don't like and exploding it in the air. That's the difference.
Okay.
There's 4 Glenn Fosters on there for keeping track.
Darren, what's your relationship with your wife? And I mean it from this standpoint. Mm-hmm. Does she like your comedy? Does she understand your comedy? Does she ever say to you, why don't you back off a bit? Or why are you so intense? Because sometimes women, wives, they lose the point, or they lose the perspective. Perspective of what you're trying to accomplish here. How does that go for you?
I mean, I think my wife somewhat likes my act. I don't think she wants to watch it all the time. Her whole thing is, like, when I come home from a show, she kind of rolls over at 2:00 in the morning. How'd it go? They hated you? Great. Get it out of your system. Can we go to sleep now? That's pretty much where it lands for her. And I get it, because who wants to see a little guy jump around and scream the C word at people over and over again?
No, and that's why I asked it. Yeah, and the thing is, it brings home the bread, and yet, again, as Howard said, perspective, eh? Absolutely.
Yeah, and one of the great things I always loved about Bon Jovi, and you're not going to hear me say that often, is that he married a woman who did not like his act. Mm-hmm. Did not like his music. So that when he married her, it wasn't a super fan. Right. Someone's going to agree with him all the time. And, my wife has said, don't tell this joke. I don't like you telling this joke. I'm still going to do it. She has the right to tell me whatever she wants. She married me. But she has a few times said, okay, Darren, I don't think you should say that joke. And it's offensive.
Right. Well, Fred's wife, who's one of the sweetest people on this planet, and other planets, too, if you believe that kind of nonsense from science. She legendarily does not listen to this podcast. Did listen to our morning show, though. My ex-wife would be driving my daughters to school and would tell me, oh, no, we don't listen to you. I don't like that kind of music, because she didn't like the Edge music. And I'd say, that music's paying for that fucking car you're driving. You understand that, right? You get how this works.
Well, it's funny, my youngest one time said to me, why do you have to say the words you say, Daddy? Those aren't good words. I said, listen, it's bad enough I got to fight comedy producers and comedy festival about my act, and I'm not going to justify the language I say to my kid. Let me explain one thing. Every time Daddy says fuck, we eat, okay? If Daddy says motherfucker enough, we get to go to Disneyland, okay? That's how it works.
How old are your kids now?
Mm-hmm. They're 21, 17, and 14.
Yeah, because they're fully formed.
And I'm the lame dad.
Obviously, yeah. Well, but they've seen you now that they're old enough. Have they actually come to see you in person?
Yeah.
My 21-year-old has. My 17-year-old hates my existence of what I do, and he constantly mocks me. You're going to just go on stage and tell people where to go? I'm like, yeah. Are you enjoying that chicken dinner we're having? Because that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from. That's okay.
You gotta go and stand on stage and tell people, hey, do any of them want to be comics? Or would you discourage that?
Yes.
Well, it's funny, because I used to walk around the house with my girls and I'd say, see this, girls? Fart jokes. Everywhere you look. Fart jokes. Fart jokes. That pool you're swimming in, that's fart jokes right there.
Yeah, I mean, comics have a lot of hang-ups. I don't do any drugs, but sometimes I say to my friends, you want to see the basement that heroin paid for? Come check it out, because I didn't do it. This is where all the money went. You went your arm, I went my basement.
I introduced Fred on the weekend to a comedian that I really like, named Anthony Jeselnik. I know it's...
Of course.
I know, it's strange, but, a lot of people don't know these guys,
Yes.
I tell the story recently. I went and saw Mark Normand at Meridian Center, whatever that thing is called, in downtown Toronto. Here's a guy you couldn't find 100 out of 100 people. You couldn't find one in Toronto that really, other than guys like me and you, but he sold out 2 3,100 seat theaters in one night. So
yes,
the point being, not everyone knows these comics. Fred listens to Anthony Jeselnik, sends me a note. You were right. I really love this guy. And then Freddie and I were talking about it this morning before the show about the kind of material that he chooses. Speaking of our wives and girlfriends, whatever, not listening to us. First of all, are there any there's some subjects that Anthony Jeselnik covers, like a lot of pedophilia, child stuff. Is there something that you wouldn't touch?
No. There's not a single thing I wouldn't touch. I mean, in the past, I've gotten into trouble the day after the Winnipeg beheading. I was doing material about it, and it hit the newspapers, and people called me evil for it. And I'm like, well, you know what? 2 weeks from now, we're all going to joke about it at the water cooler. Some people believe in too soon. I don't. And let the audience vote. And a lot of audiences don't have that too soon problem. Now they're almost searching it out. People are kind of searching out this kind of dark humor and aligning themselves that way because of the internet. So you've got the Jeselniks and the Jim Jeffries and those kind of comics that are like the top 10 comics probably making the most money. A lot of them are dirty, dark comics now because people are willing to search them out. Whereas in the 80s and 90s, you had to wait for the gatekeepers to tell you who to watch. That's not happening anymore. Mark Norman, nothing against him, but no one knows who he is. You ask your friends that name, they don't know. But comedy fans, 3,100 people, if someone sold out 3,100 people in the 80s, it would have had to have been Chris Rock because they never thought about putting him into arenas at that time. That's where we are now.
Yeah, and like I said to Howard, I really enjoyed that Jeselnik special, whichever one it was called. What was it called, Howard, that one? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
What's the last one? It's called, what's it called? Bones and All.
I haven't heard from my sister. There might be comedy that I would say to my wife, come here and look at this guy, he's funny, or, oh, check this out, I watched it last night. I wouldn't even go there with her because I know she would not find that funny at all.
Yeah.
And, I mean, how do you respond to that? Does that make me evil or sick that I like it? But again, it gets back to that word perspective. It's like, you know what he's trying to do and take it for what it is. And I really enjoyed it, as sick as some of it was. It was
look, when we were kids, we all told dead baby jokes. I mean, I don't know how that didn't continue on with people. Like I have a bit, and a good friend of mine's wife literally reached out to me and said, Darren, I don't like you doing this bit. And I had to tell her, I'm like, look, I appreciate your opinion, but I'm not going to stop doing the bit. Now, the bit is a story about a baby being raped by a dog that actually hit the newswire and was reported in multiple newspapers with graphic details. And all of a sudden, my joke about it is too far. Yeah. It's like everyone's where that lands for people is different. And I just had to say to her, look, I appreciate your friendship, but I'm not stopping doing the bit.
I mean, Fred and I have done a comedic, comedy-based show for a long time.
Sure.
And we ran in commercial radio, the idea that he and I might make fun of a situation that was in the news, it was kind of one of those things where, like, okay, so we were a bit edgy because we did. But as you make a really good point, something that's in the news today, 2 weeks from now, everyone's going to be doing a bit about it. It's just guys like us see that and go, oh, I think we should do a bit about it right now. At this moment, it's like like that line in the Bare Naked Ladies song, the kind of guy that laughs at a funeral. Well, that's who we are.
Hey, the most famous episode of Mary Tyler Moore is the funeral episode.
Yeah. Them all cracking,
we're talking
all cracking up at the funeral.
Yesterday. That's decades ago, so I don't understand how people all of a sudden get a bit of a moral high horse on some of this stuff. It's like, I voted with my dollar. You don't vote. You vote the way you want to with your dollar.
Well, that's it. And they chose to go there, get in their car, drive there, pay the money, and walk in. So, yeah, like, if you don't like it, don't go.
It's no different than the 80s with the whole heavy metal thing, right? That it's responsible for killing of children, and Black Sabbath is evil. And now Ozzy's a bit of a puppet. And everyone's like, really? That's what we were scared of,
Yeah, back in our Edge days, it was interesting because the odd time we would deal with a story and get some pushback, but we're working at a station called The Edge, and it's like,
right.
Isn't that what we're supposed to do? We're supposed to sort of push the edge. Isn't that the whole idea of this station?
Yeah.
But that's the dilemma we face sometimes, yeah.
I mean, I have warnings on the door. It says no refunds. It says X-rated, all this. And then people still come in and get upset and offended. I'm like, look, you don't hire Metallica to sing Rita McNeil songs. I'm not saying it wouldn't be cool.
Yeah.
You just don't do it because you bought a ticket to Metallica. You're going to hear Ride the Lightning. So just sit back and enjoy it.
I think I was going to say, at the time that you and I have known each other and done stand-up, the line has changed. And you referenced it a second ago. It used to be, you'd think of Darren Frost or Kenny Robinson,
Yes.
who, by the way, just opened for Russell Peters. I saw that.
Yes.
Was that a big arena in Winnipeg?
Yeah, that was in Winnipeg. That was the arena, yeah.
There's another thing, the phenomenon of the modern stand-up comic, that a guy like Russell, who was one of the first ones to do it, but is working arena-sized shows.
Yes.
Whereas, in the 80s, there was nobody doing that.
No, like they would play Massey Hall, which is about 3,000 people. That was the top. Like, you're the top. You're Robin Williams.
But where I was going with it is, it used to be that you were working blue, like you and Kenny would swear where other guys didn't swear as much or talk about sex. But the line changed to, now you're doing, like Jesselnick does 10 or 15 minutes. Basically on kids and how much he hates babies, and it's fucking hilarious. But it's like, as time has gone on, the line has had to get more and more, more and more aggressive. And I think it's great if you like that kind of stuff, and if you want something very sweet and whatever, you go and watch Tom Papa.
But isn't the timing good right now because people are so sick of the whole woke thing and how comics have been criticized, in the last few years, what goes on at the colleges and stuff? Don't you think it's actually created more of a market for that, maybe?
I mean, it's definitely swung back. I don't always agree with the whole idea of cancel culture that it exists, because I don't know a single comic of a certain size that was really canceled.
Right.
They're all doing great. They're all doing big business. They're all selling out shows. Dave Chappelle still sells out arenas. So, I mean, has there been some blowback? Yes. But it is starting to come back around to being like, I think people, especially during COVID, things got weird. Everybody was inside their own head. They're in front of a computer all day. They couldn't go out. They just wanted to scream into the void. And they probably said and did some things they kind of regret now. And I think we're coming back to a more moderate place of like, okay, you like that? Fine. I don't. I'm okay with it now. They're not as there's other things to yell about, whether it's, Palestine or Israel. There's other really important things to yell about, not so much comedy.
In the bio here, and I'd never seen this before. It's pretty cool. It says Darren's in describing his comedy. Darren says, "I believe that my comedy could be best described by Neil Young. Traveling there was really boring, so I headed for the ditch. It was a rough ride, but I met more interesting people there."
Yeah, I mean, 90% of my shows, I don't play big towns. I play small towns, and I'm the first kind of edgy comic that they've seen probably in their venue. So it's not easy. It's it's the old walking in a minefield with clown shoes. It's not, you're gonna hit something.
Well, this month you're not playing any small town venues.
No.
This weekend it's Ottawa Yuck Yucks. Next weekend Niagara Falls. The following weekend, just before Christmas, it's Toronto. And at the end of the month, you can celebrate the new year in Oshawa.
Yes.
All these Yuck Yuck shows.
Yes.
Check your local Yuck Yucks listings for details. What is new on? I haven't seen you for a while. So what's on your plate? What are the kind of things you're talking about these days? Is it anything political, or is it more just my life and my kids hate me and my wife doesn't want to?
Well, that's my closer right there. It's mainly about my life. I haven't really had very. I mean, I brought something back about Trump that I was running a couple years ago when he was in office. So I am talking a bit about Trump, but I also feel that is not even the best because I think people are kind of tired of it. It was so built up. It's like the balloon that's now popped. Let's kind of get over it. I don't think people really want to hear too many jokes about it. I've got a cute little joke about it, so it's fine, but it's mainly about my life and how a manatee shit on my face in Florida. That's
not true.
That's true. A manatee shit on my face in Florida.
Why did it had it seen your act, or was this?
Yes, they get the internet down there now. That's how far the line has moved.
What are the circumstances?
I went on a trip with my kids because in Florida you can only swim with manatees. That's the only place you legally can swim with them.
Okay.
And they take you out in a boat and they have rules. And the 2 rules are: one, you can't touch a manatee. Well, I wasn't going to kick fuck one, so there's that. And the second one is if it comes within 4 feet of you, you have to freeze in the water. And one was there, and it was like sticking its tongue out at me. I thought it was the most beautiful thing, and it's coming closer and closer. And then I look above its mouth, and I realize that little thing sticking out wasn't its tongue because there was no eyes above it. It was its asshole, and it was shitting into the water. And the woman's yelling at me, "Don't move, sir, don't move!" And it's getting closer and closer to my face, and I want to flinch because you ever been shit on by a 1,600-pound animal? You're going to flinch, trust me. And then the manatee shit on my face. It rubbed my cock and took off, and my 3 kids watched it.
Excellent.
And
I got all that for $80. I haven't been to a rub and tug in a long time. That's a pretty good deal.
That's so funny. It's like your kids are going, we're going to need, Dad, you're going to need to put some money away for our therapy right now.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I had so when I was listening to Jesselnick last week, I also had heard I listened to the interview with him and Mark Maron.
Yes.
And they were talking about something I wanted to throw by you, which is, Maron's done 5 or 6 specials, Jesselnick's done 2 or 3, but they both have material going back 15, 18 years to their very first specials on Comedy Central. And the question was this: you've got hours of material that most of the people you're going to go for the next 4 weeks have never heard before. You could go back in the Darren catalog to 5 or 6 specials ago, and there's good material there. Do you ever look at that and go, fuck it, I'm going to bring that block of 15 minutes back?
I do it all the time. I do it all the time just to keep it fresh for me, because writing new material all the time is not the easiest thing.
No.
But then going, you know what? I'm going to tell this story I haven't told in 5 years, and I'm going to try to pull it off. Or I'm actually recording a special in Toronto, and half of it's brand new, 30 minutes. The other half is older stories because the sound wasn't great when I recorded them originally. So, and the video quality. So I'm going to have a kind of like a half and half special. So I am going back. And that is true. When you have I have 8 different specials. So I have material that people think, oh my God, this is so brand new. And it's like, no, it's actually 9 years old, but you didn't know.
So when you record those specials, how do you distribute them? Or do you just throw them up online? Or
throw them online now.
Is Netflix producing anything in Canada now? Or
there's a Netflix. I don't think they produce stand-up in Canada, but there's a Netflix Canada.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of productions that are Netflix productions in Canada, but not stand-up.
Right.
When you do that, and I'm just going to get off this in a second, but when you do that and you say, there's a bit I used to do, it's 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah. Do you have to go listen to it and relearn the bit?
Yes. Well, at least the talking points. Because what happens is when you do a bit, it starts out as an 8-minute bit, and then you fine tune it, it becomes a 4-minute bit. And then what happens is 10 years later, you have better set of eyes, a better comic. You then realize those 2 things I dropped because they weren't working, I now can run with, and they do work because I have the ability to change them. And that's why I tell any performer, don't throw away anything. Keep everything, because you never know what you're going to use in the future. And that's what I've done. Well, that's part of the reason why I started recording myself, just for I looked at George Carlin, who's got a list of DVDs or specials he can put on a wall, and that's my life. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, if you have a chance to go see Darren in the next 3 or 4 weeks, it's always a lot of fun. And even though he pretends to be angry, he is a sweet, sweet person, and he will make you laugh, or fucking you'll walk out. That's the 2 things.
That's fair.
You're going to laugh really hard, or you might just say, "Fuck it, I got to get out of here."
Yeah, I made the wrong choice. I'm not going to throw anything at this guy.
I've made some horrible choices in my life.
I'm just going to leave.
Let me ask this question. Obviously, Glenn Foster, you clash personally, online, whatever. Yeah. Do you like his act?
I have no problem with Glenn's act. I support Glenn's act. I support any comic that's doing anything. And Glenn used to be a killer back in the day. I have not seen him in over 5 years perform really a long set, so I can't comment. But Glenn was a talented comic. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I can easily, unlike other comics, I can easily separate person from act. There are many comics in this country I fucking despise that are great comics because they're douchebag humans.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I've known Glenn I've known Glenn probably as long as I've known you, and I would say this about Glenn. I don't have anything personally. I mean, we always get along. He and I get along.
Hitler had friends.
Absolutely.
I always say Hitler had friends.
Yes, he did. He had some close friends. He said, hey, why don't we all kill ourselves? They went, yes.
Kim Jong-il had a great backhand in tennis. We can find
But I want to say this
everything.
about Glenn. Glenn is one of the best writers this country's ever produced in terms of his ability to craft jokes. He's a great joke writer. He really is.
Yes.
Whether he got as successful as he should have been or could have been, a lot of
Probably
times,
not, but that's the
but a lot of times, like, his material in a more, charismatic performer might have been different. But his material is very, very good.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Glenn is definitely an example of writing is stronger than performing.
Absolutely.
And many people would consider my performing stronger than my writing. And I'm okay with that.
Listen, I was told that way early on. A comic said to me this
know
in
your
LA.
strengths.
He said, if you could write as good as you could perform, you might do something. Listen, everybody, Darren Frost, for all Darren Frost information, there's a website, I'm sure. Where do people go?
It's darrenfrost.com. Isn't that easy? 2
God
R's
damn
and
it,
1
man.
E.
darrenfrost.com. How did you come up with it? Listen, it's great seeing you again. You're a very nice man, and I wish you all the best, and have a great run this month. Maybe I'll come down to the Toronto shows and say hi. I haven't been there for a while.
Well, happy holidays to everyone.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Darren. Good to see you.
Cheers.
You're a very nice person. Don't stop pretending you're not.
Hey, and Jim Jeffries and what's his name did a tour together. Maybe me and Glenn can do like a hot and cold tour.
Absolutely. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah.
DarrenFrost.com for all tour dates and Darren Frost information. Peace, my friend.
Cheers, guys.
All right. We'll take a break here for a second. Freddie, what do we got?
The Retirement Sherpa, Tim Niblett, a portfolio manager, Raymond James, a member of the Canadian Investors Protection Fund. Yes, hello?
Oh, no, I'm waving at Darren. I'm not waving
I thought
at
you were waving at me. You're waving at
I'm
Darren.
waving. Bye, Darren.
All right.
Bye.
So, Tim or Jay will be by on Wednesday to give us an update on the markets, what's going on, how you should invest, why you should invest, and again, convey the standing offer if you have a portfolio and you want someone to have a second look at it, a very important element, really. Sometimes people look at the bottom line and think, I don't know, I could be doing better. Maybe I'll have the Sherps have a look at it. And they'll give you an honest assessment, no strings attached, and you can take it from there. He's the Retirement Sherpa. Retirement Tim, Retirement J, retirementsherpa.ca.
Oh, look at you. Mm-hmm. I don't know what made me think of it this weekend. And I'm going to talk about Kelsey's in a second, but I just want to go, why can't I just go back in time and, I saw the price of a share of Bitcoin, whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. And I was like, why?
No, I know.
Why didn't the How Man? Why didn't the Fred Man and the How Man buy some Bitcoin? Just throw 10,000, throw 1,000, throw some number at a Bitcoin share. I didn't know what it was when it came out. I still don't know what it is.
People did.
Yes, they did.
One day I sat there and I did some math on, I think it was Bitcoin on, when it was 10 cents by $10,000 and what it's worth today. It's just like dizzying.
Yeah, well, you could. If you had done that, then you could have walked into Shoppers and didn't care about how much the shampoo was. If you
have someone washing my hair.
That's right. You would have said, I'm buying this Shoppers Drug Mart, and you, ma'am, you are washing the Fred man's hair. Let's get to the important news. This holiday season, just wing it. Buy a $50 Kelsey's gift card until December 31st and get free chicken wings on your next visit in January. Give the gift that keeps on giving. Kelsey's, the original Roadhouse, while quantities last. all kind of other stuff going on. Bring your party to Kelsey's for this holiday season. Get 10% off when you host a party of 8 or more and use their group menu. What's on the menu, you say? Ooh, all kind of tasty things. Kelsey's classics like their Roadhouse seafood pasta, creamy shrimp and crab sirloin, beef tenderloin, and so much more. Hurry in and taste them all before they are gone. Only at Kelsey's, the original Roadhouse. Find out more by visiting kelseys.ca. We were talking about Jesselnick just before we went away on the weekend there, and I was happy you liked it. Darren sent me a note, and I found something, like we were talking about, the type of humor that, say, you wouldn't share with Dahl, and I agree. But to give people a sense of what we're talking about, here's just a typical bit from Anthony Jeselnik's Bones and All.
Can use that. It works. I haven't heard from my sister in a year. It's the best.
It starts now.
Like a lot of people, I spent most of the pandemic stuck inside, staring at the walls, going crazy. Started buying weird shit online. Decided I was going to redecorate my place. I don't know anything about interior design, but I know what I like. So I went on eBay, and I paid $500 for a child's coffin. I thought, this will be great. It's vintage. You put that in your living room, it's a conversation starter. But like so many of the things we bought online during the pandemic, I regret it now. Thing finally showed up in the mail, empty.
So there's a perfect example of what this guy's like. He's such a great joke writer, but that's the kind of bit like you go, hey, Dahl, I got this great, you got to hear this joke. Yeah. What's it about, Fred? Oh, it's about child's coffins. I'm not interested in that kind of humor.
No. Because, again, you have to separate. I mean, the thought of a dead child is horrible, but, again, this is comedy, and take it for what it is.
And then the tag with it shows up, and it's empty. He's such a good joke writer. And as I'm saying to you, unlike Stephen Wright, who's joke after joke after joke, and it becomes a bit almost hypnotizing, whereas Jeselnik makes it sound like he's telling you a story, and then those little misdirection type of jokes are in the body of the story, which is very different. And, again, he's just a straight-up stand-up. He's had lots of different shows in the States. Comedy Central, he had a couple of TV shows there. But, he's just one of those guys that, as we've been saying for the last few days, if you don't follow stand-up, you would have never heard of this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I'll look for more, like anything else.
Well, he's got two other specials that I think you should also watch. They're very, very fun.
Right. You know what I binged this weekend?
What did you binge?
All 8 episodes within 36 hours. Maybe.
Tell me.
Was the Penguin.
Oh, that looks good.
Have you seen it?
Just seen the adverts for
it. Excellent. Yep.
And it's who plays the Penguin? Colin Farrell?
Yeah, like 4 or 5 hours a day in makeup or something. I'm sitting there thinking, why would you ever accept a role like that? It just seems the most unlikely guy for that character. But who knows what they think and how they think. But, and then I'm reading that, 4 or 5 hours a day in makeup for that role. But he did it, and, it was excellent.
And it's Crave. Is it Crave that has it?
I forget.
I watched, I started binging. I finished The West Wing, finally.
For the third time or fourth?
Third time. I know.
All right.
And then now for the second time, because I like Aaron Sorkin so much, the guy that created The West Wing, I've started watching The Newsroom.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
With Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
Most people, if you haven't heard of it, it's that famous scene where a college girl asks news anchor played by Jeff Daniels. Why is America the greatest country in the world? And he gives that speech about how it's not the greatest country in the world.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
It's so true.
Yeah, and the series is good. I mean, I just went through season 1. I don't know how many episodes. It's 10 or 12 episodes this past week. And it's good because I like the style of Aaron Sorkin, but it's not as good as The West Wing. Right. But yet I'm still watching it. Yes. I'm still watching it.
And further to that point of the United States being the greatest country on earth, interesting yesterday. So Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Biden pardons Hunter Biden after maintaining and being quite adamant through the fall that he would not pardon Hunter, but he did. And so now we'll get the fallout on that and his explanation on why he pardoned Hunter. It could have been a Trump speech, right? Like the establishment and its inside job and its war, political warfare and all those things. And I'm thinking, what a fucked up country. So the president gets to pardon his son. But this is a country that just elected a sex offender. So it's all, the whole thing is shot to shit. It really is.
That's what I thought, too.
What a country.
Fallout from it, and I saw some of it online.
Yeah.
It's almost like, are you American? Are you? Yeah, the whole thing is, I've told you this, I believe they should just shut the fucking thing down. But it's so ridiculous. It's so hypocritical. When you think about the nepotism of the Trump administration, the first time around, the son-in-law, the $2 billion deal with the Saudis. He just gave his son-in-law's father an ambassadorship. It's all nepotism. The kids were working in the White House, Ivanka and her son and her husband. And I thought Biden had a good point about the politicization, if that's a word, about surrounding Hunter Biden.
But there's no getting around it. It's not a good look. Because he was quite adamant that this was not going to happen. And again, he's lost and he's on his way out, and it's my son and I love him. I get all that.
Yeah.
But again, when you live in a country where a sex offender can be elected president and a guy who tried to bring down the government through an insurrection, now that is just thrown out like it never happened because he's become your president.
That's right.
And then Biden can do that with his son. It's like, what's it all about? Like, what does any of it mean other than what a fucked up country you are?
Yeah, okay. But I don't think it's a bad look at all for me anyway. I didn't take it like, it looks bad on Biden. I'm like, fuck it. All the rules are gone. Supreme Court.
So it's a bad look on the country then.
For sure. But it would be the least, think about what the last guy did 4 years ago. In transition, he said the election was stolen when he knew it wasn't. So Biden pardoning his son, whose charges were pretty much, it wasn't like he shot up a grocery store. He misregistered his gun because he was still had a drug conviction. It was really not that big a deal. And by the way, whatever was supposed to happen with Hunter Biden's laptop certainly never came to any fruition. So I don't mind him pardoning his son.
Oh no, well, I don't care because, as I say, just look at the entire landscape. It's just a shit show.
Yeah,
that's
ridiculous.
What it is. Like you this great land of law, this great beacon of democracy. Are you kidding me? This patriotic nation that has no rival. Bullshit.
Yeah. Well, back to that speech. The speech that Jeff Daniels gives, and I think if you haven't heard it, everybody should go look it up. It's just look up why is America not the greatest country in the world. One of the things he cites in that speech is one of the things other people on the panel mentioned. Well, freedom. And then the other person says freedom, and he says there are 220 sovereign nations in the world. 180 of them have freedom. And he mentions Canada, Australia, Japan. Yeah. There are lots of countries on the planet that have laws and freedoms, but the Americans think they're the only ones. And I don't want to get to. I want to get to the football game before we have to change when this guest joins us. But first, I'll just say that the people that Trump has appointed or tried to get confirmed, the guy that he just nominated to be the head of the FBI. If you go and look at who these people are, it's unbelievable who they are. This guy, Kash Patel.
But again, I read a compelling article on the weekend about, again, the shift in the reason how he was elected. People just tired of the establishment. How right or wrong that is, and mostly wrong in my mind. There's people just loving it because it's just so against the grain. It's like, yeah, that's what we need. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and a lot of those people who are saying that are really just fucking dumb. They're just too dumb.
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we?
Let's talk about that game. They call it, for people who didn't see the Bills game last night, it was like when you shake up a snow globe. It was that kind of snow. It wasn't like, oh, it snowed and now it's not. It snowed all the way through that thing. And it was kind of cool what the television coverage did, is they put it through, like, they put lines on the field to distinguish where they were, because you could barely see the field. Like, it was completely covered in snow.
What's interesting too is the perspective. Like, from long shots, you can't really see the snow, and then close-ups, you realize how hard it is snowing in those big snowflakes. But the Bills ran over them 35-10, beat the San Francisco 49ers. That Josh Allen's amazing.
Yeah. It was something else.
Even in the pregame show, it kills me. They're having this discussion. Who is the best team in the NFL right now? And some are arguing it might be the Philadelphia Eagles, even above the Detroit Lions. And then they mentioned Kansas City. No mention of the Buffalo Bills at all. So that little town, up in the north part of the country, tucked up against Canada, they still don't get the respect they should. It's interesting.
Well, are you saying the pregame before the Buffalo Bills game?
Yeah.
And they weren't mentioning Bills?
No, they were just talking about how the Eagles are coming on, and the Lions are strong, and who really is the best team in the NFL. And then they gave a token mention to Kansas City, no mention of the Bills. But we'll see.
Well, they were a pretty impressive team last night, and I thought when I saw how much snow there was, I thought, well, it's not going to be a very high scoring game. And what it was it was great watching the running game, because guys couldn't get their footing. And I don't know who was the announcer, the color guy with Mike Tirico. Chris Collingsworth?
That's Chris Collingsworth, yeah.
He made a couple of interesting points, I thought. He said, and I didn't get this part out, that's why I wanted to run it by you. He said, it's almost like things are happening in slow motion. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, because everything was happening a beat or two slower than it normally does?
Well, you just have to be sure, right, of every foot, of every step, when you're taking the ball like on a handoff, to make sure you have it. So it slows everything up a bit. But how about that, Josh Allen? What a night. So he runs for a touchdown, passes for a touchdown, and receives for a touchdown.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was considered
weird.
A pass.
I know.
So that's a reception for a touchdown.
That was such a great play.
Yeah.
But it just, it's funny. Did you see the statistic they've had? Buffalo Bills last year were the best team in it was a December, January, or November, December. It's December, January, by a lot. And maybe it's because, like, this time of the year when it gets cold, teams come into that stadium, and it's hard to compete against a team that's kind of used to it. I mean, there's not going to be that kind of snow for the rest of the season, but its potential is always there.
Yeah. In Kansas City, how aggravating that team is. All the victories, they probably have 4 or 5 victories where they snatched victory out of the mouth of defeat. It was just like, even against the shitty Raiders the other day, they should have lost that game. A blocked field goal. So, the Raiders win that game in Buffalo, and then Buffalo becomes the top seed because they won the head-to-head. So I don't want to see Buffalo go into Kansas City for the AFC Championship, but it looks like that may happen. And watch the Pittsburgh Steelers too, Howard. That's a scary situation there.
So I saw the standings at some point during the game, and it showed Kansas City and their stats, win-loss, and it says secured a playoff spot already.
Yeah.
So have Buffalo?
And Buffalo won. Well, so has Buffalo. Buffalo won their division last night.
Oh, okay. So now
with 5 weeks to go.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Well, you notice with about 8 or 9, maybe 10 minutes left in the game, I got up to get something. I came back, and they had taken Allen and a couple of the other starters off the field.
Yeah, good move.
Yeah, I thought so. But at first I thought, wow, there's still 10 minutes left in the game. And then I sort of looked at the math and I went, okay, well, it's a 4-score game right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty safe. It's a pretty safe bet that. And I wondered, I was going to ask you this. So let's say they take everybody off. They're leading by 25 points with 10 minutes to go. What would you think the threshold would be for what's our coach's name again? Sean
McDermott.
Yeah. What would have been the threshold to bring them back? Like if all of a sudden it was like they scored 2 quick touchdowns or
maybe. Yeah. Who knows? But it was nice. Our buddy Johnny Ellefson, I texted him Saturday. I said, are you going to the game? He has season tickets. And he said he hadn't decided yet. But I'll tell you, man, no part of me would have wanted to be there last night. A young Fred Patterson, yes, for the novelty of it, but no.
I don't know, man.
Not at all. I, again, put on a fire here last night, sitting on the couch, watching that snow game was brilliant in the comfort of my own home. But
here's what, well, first of all, I would have...
And did you see how full it was?
No, I was going to say that. I would have no interest. And the part that really sold me was when they said, yeah, most of the fans are standing up because they didn't get here in time to shovel off the seats.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm like, no thank you.
No, not at all.
We're going to switch gears here. Speaking of sports, winter times. A lot of guys our age getting ready for whatever, trying to work on their bodies. We're going to talk to Josh Alvarez. Do you want to do your thing first? Yeah.
Yeah. Just tonight, the Monday nighter. It's Cleveland at Denver. The Broncos having a pretty good season, better than expected, minus 275 on that, a 6-point pick. And the Maple Leafs tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks, the worst team in the NHL. Leafs minus 390 on the money line there. Whether you're a sports bettor, a horse racing fan, a poker casino player, Bodog, your number one source of online gambling entertainment. From their industry-leading odds, world-class sportsbook, to their fully loaded casino and racebook, they've been providing Canadian players with an unparalleled gaming experience since 1994. That is Bodog.
The company that we're going to be talking about is called Revive TO. Revive is a kind of a full-service training, physio, massage, acupuncture, all kinds of stuff. And the guy at the center of this storm of goodness is my buddy Josh Alvarez. Hey, kid, how you doing?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're
Very
great.
good, Josh.
Now, Josh, you just quickly give us a little background. You and it's not an ex-Raptor, but it's an ex-basketball player. You guys started this. Are we okay to mention who that is?
Yeah, there's no problem. No problem. Yeah, we have so the former NBA player. His name's Andrew Nicholson. He's actually from Mississauga as well, and he used to play he was drafted to the Orlando Magic. He played there for a couple of years, and then he played on a couple of teams before he moved over to playing over in Asia. Currently, he's still playing in Korea as we speak right now. So he's actually there right now.
Okay, very cool.
In the, KBL.
So he's part of this team, and the reason I thought it would be good to have you on again is that, you know, the winter's a time a lot of men, women, you know, try and, you know, maybe work on their bodies a little bit. You've got training and everything, but tell us a little bit about the average person, especially guys our age in their 50s and 60s and beyond. What are the kind of things that you see as a therapist and somebody that has a full approach to getting people to feel better?
I think so. What I'll say is that it depends mainly on the goals. Like I say, for example, right now is winter, right? So winter, you know, a lot of people might have, let's say they get a flu or catching a cold, their immune system drops. You know, maybe not as much sunlight, and then immune system drops as well. So I think a lot of that comes down to like what your goals are. So if an individual comes in, they're looking for just full body, like how can I help myself internally? That might be a naturopath. That's what a naturopath would basically do. They look at how to heal the body from the inside, affecting, you know, your gut health, your sleep, your recovery, the nutrients you put into your body, right? But that's one aspect of what you're capable of doing, right? So there's obviously like the body mechanical aspect of becoming more optimal and learning how to move more pain-free. That's another way of obviously focusing on your of goals that you might have. Right,
yeah, but I was going to say, do you think it's harder for people as they age, guys in our age category, to either get in shape or to get treatment for things that they've injured?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing the biggest thing is just depending on one. Are you currently active, especially at that age, right? And if you are currently active at that age, then it's one of those ones you need more guidance. Or two, have you not even started and you're looking for more guidance? And that the people at that age group, majority of the time, we have this like in this Western mentality. I believe it's more this idea of like we're fragile, right? And that whole concept there is what scares a lot of people from getting started. And that's where the average person would really benefit from it by having the guidance and the education of where to start, right? So because no one knows their baseline, especially at the point of when you're starting without having done anything at all, right, in the longest time, right? So, so yeah, that's I'd say it's more like precautionary. People starting at a later age, it's more knowing where to start and what direction to go towards, so that they don't break down too early. You know, you start too fast and you fall fast. So you start right. So,
or if without proper guidance, you can injure yourself and set yourself back. Generally, I know that's one thing that goes through my mind. Again, because the older you are, the harder it is to recover, and that would be very important, right? Not, as you say, don't overdo it early, or you could just defeat the whole purpose.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things we see nowadays in I'd say like in getting active. You see this there's this huge like wave right now. You guys know the sport pickleball, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course we do.
The biggest wave now, right? So
yeah,
it's I think it's during the pandemic. It was funny. In the pandemic, there was cold plunging was one of the waves that happened throughout the pandemic. The next one was run clubs. It's like the new dating, and then there's pickleball. So now everyone picked up the sport of pickleball. And you're saying right there is like a lot of people picked up the sport, not having done anything active, and then we're seeing a huge increase in terms of rates of injury to Achilles. Like the amount of ACLs and Achilles we're dealing with during this last 4 or 5 years has been ridiculous. Because like no one's ready to play the sport, right?
Right.
They get it there, right? And they're deconditioned, they get hurt because they do it too fast, or they're not as conditioned to handle it yet, right? So having direction is important. I'd say is the biggest thing there.
Yeah, the amount of people in, again, our age category, 50s, 60s, and 70s. My older brother is 72 years old. He's in Mexico right now with his girlfriend. They play pickleball, and he's in decent shape. She's in very good shape. They play it every afternoon. And, Fred and I played it once. We had a great time. But, I injured my elbow playing it.
Yeah.
I think it's the kind of thing I would like. Have you played it since we came back from Mexico?
Yeah, a couple of times, but not anything serious. It's court time's a major issue. It's so popular. It's getting on a goddamn court. It's crazy. Anyway.
So at your clinic, ReviveTO.com, you treat people with pickleball injuries, golf injuries, people that are running, cycling, and active. What are some? You mentioned osteopathy, is that what it is? Osteopath?
That's right, yeah.
What are some of the other things that you have there, and what are some of the other kind of injuries that somebody listening might go, oh, I have that, Josh can treat it? What is it?
I'd say the best thing about what we do is that we're able to work with most conditions, like a majority of conditions. With the population, let's say from the 50 onwards, a lot of the conditions we do deal with can be treated by majority of all the practitioners we have, because they're trained at looking at the body from a global aspect, meaning holistic, right? So we like to understand how the body moves, whether you're a physio, chiro, massage, osteo, doesn't matter which one you are. At the end of the day, the way we look at the body is understanding how the body moves as a whole before you start looking at just why does the knee hurt, right? So we do deal with, let's say, for example, you might have knee pain, back pain, the whole bit, right? Like the most general pains you might have. And then we also deal with post-ops to injuries, the people who are actually having hip surgeries and knee surgeries, and then getting back in sport. That's a big one I've noticed in the last couple of years was hip surgeries with a lot of people who were playing golf. That was a big one. A lot of my guys were in 60s to 70s. Were all dealing with a lot of their hip reconstructions in order for them to get to basically want to continue to keep playing sports. at their age, right? So obviously for our side, it's trying to avoid that as much as possible. But once the decision is made, we make sure you can get back as fast as possible, right? And to the level you can get to, right? So,
how much does weight play into it too? Because it's easy when you get into your 60s or 70s or even late 50s, whatever, to put on the pounds. How important? What is your recommendation to someone as far as weight goes?
So in terms of weight, I'd say that's one of the biggest things we've seen in the last, like not even the last, it's just in general. A lot of injuries happen in the older ages only because their body isn't moving at the same way they used to move, but their mind is moving like at a pace that, like most people can't understand, right? So the IQ is there. It's just the body can't keep up, right? Yeah. So majority of the thing is just that stagnation over time and going into like that, the 9-to-5 work and working for multiple years and then becoming more stagnant and not moving as much. They used to be very active, but they think they're still very active, right? Mentally. But physically, you got to be able to match both. And most people aren't. And they come in like 20, 30, 40 pounds heavier. Right, but still moving as if they were like 20, 30, 40 pounds lighter, right? Yeah.
So recipe for disaster, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Freddie and I were talking last week, Josh, about, I'm doing a certain number of steps per day, trying to get in those steps. People always, the number is 10,000. Do you believe in that? Do you have to do 10,000 steps a day, or is it just some kind of movement, no matter what what age you are? And I suppose the older you are, the more important it is to have some kind of movement per day.
Yeah, so the whole concept behind like the 10,000 steps is any movement is good movements, right? In terms of like just adding movement to your lifestyle, but the most low intensity that a lot of people can apply on a day-to-day basis is walking, right? It's adding more steps. So that's why when they added these goals, it made it more like a psychological thing to focus on a goal so they can work towards something and keep something consistent. That's just how we're wired, right? In terms of like people, you have a goal in front of you. If you break it down into like, I can't get 10,000, I'll build my way up towards 10,000. Then I'm going to consistently hit 10. Then I'm going to try and add more, right? And we get this like euphoria from doing that, right? So it's like dopamine responses of like, hey, I'm happy. Like I enjoy this. Like I'm hitting these goals. I'm seeing the difference, right? So 10,000 to me is more of a benchmark. I wouldn't say it's like you have to hit that number.
But you're saying it's not necessary to do it. You're going to get some benefit from whatever movement you do. Okay.
Something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's exactly
that obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say that's the number one thing is just move. Just to move in general is more important than not moving at all. Right. But 10,000 just gives people a goal. Yeah. Right. You don't need to hit 10. It could be, imagine
because it's a lot for most people.
It is a lot. And I said to Freddie, like, I took the dogs for a walk, it's like 45 minutes and I got to 6,000 steps. And I'm like, well, I'm going home now. Listen, what's that, Freddie?
No, I was going to say the one thing about the steps too, it's like, a big benefit is getting the heart rate up. And sometimes when I go for my long walks, I'm questioning whether I'm getting my heart rate up enough. Where maybe I could do something else for a much shorter time, but get that heart rate up. It's probably more of a benefit than the steps. But I got a professional. That's for a professional to analyze.
Exactly. Full disclosure: I've had several treatments with Josh. They're the best. Revive Toronto. When you're working with me, are you optimistic that we're going to make some progress, or do you just look at me and go, "There's just no fucking way. He's got so many things wrong with him." Like honestly, I don't even know where to start. But have patience. I think we're going to get there. If you've got some injuries from anything, whether it's golf or triathlons, or you're just somebody that's gotten old and your hips don't work, they can help you at reviveto.com. More information's there. Josh, thanks very much for this morning, my friend.
Appreciate it, guys. You guys take care. Right?
Yeah, glad
Good
you're
to
feeling
see you,
better.
Josh.
There's Josh.
Thanks, bud.
It's a good man. Josh Alvarez, reviveto.com. Thanks, my brother.
Take care.
There you go. You talked about the cold plunge. I've done that now 3 or 4 times. The last time I did it, I was in that cold bath for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I got to tell you, it's quite something.
Yeah, I bet.
It is quite something. I don't like when you're in it, it's more of a psychological thing because after about 30 seconds, it's just so cold, it almost stops registering, but your heart rate starts to elevate. And I've gone a little bit longer every time. The weird thing is, when you get out of it, your body feels completely different. I don't know if it's like
Well, why wouldn't it?
Well, you know what it is? It's like that fight or flight thing. All of a sudden, your blood starts rushing back to all the areas of your body that had, like, I will say this: your wiener goes away. It's just gone.
Oh, it goes right up inside your body.
Yeah. Had to get a.
And what about your bag? What happens to your bag? Does that go up to you?
No,
or does
it's
that
all
just
gone.
hang there?
You need a plumber's. What are those things called? A plumber's. You know when you? I don't know what plumbers use when they go and get inside pipes. What is that thing called?
Oh, a snake.
Snake. You got to get a snake to get your wiener back.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Anyway. No. You're all done your stuff, right?
Yes.
Well, while we're waiting for Dan, let me tell you about Boron 1. As we've been mentioning, the junior mining companies that ever get to this point where Boron 1 is at are few and far between, where they're actually going to take the mineral that they have the rights to out of the ground commercially. And when it comes to boron, there are not many places around the planet that do it. Get into some information. This could be this could be one of those things where a couple years from now, you're like, oh yeah, I remember Humble and Fred told me the stock was like 5 cents, and I bought some. And now look at this beautiful boat because of Humble and Fred. If you have any information needs, go to boron1.com, boron1.com. They will be more than happy to give you some of the news.
Dan's not there yet?
Oh, yeah, he's coming. He's just arrived. I wanted to mention Kelsey's 22nd of December. So now we're talking 20 days from now. That's how fast it's all happening, folks. Kelsey's on the 22nd. We've got a couple of great performers booked already. Greg Wired. If you're a Hyundai P, Greg used to come on our show all the time. We tried several times. Once was at Stonehooker. He was busy. The last time at Kelsey's, he was busy. But he's going to be there this time along with Lisa McEwen, who has performed at some of our Christmas shows. It's going to be a holiday, festive, warm, Dan, all of it. You're going to be there. It's going to be beautiful.
Holiday, festive, and warm.
Yes.
Can't wait. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Humble and Fred at humbleandfredradio.com. Just send us a note so we know you're coming. You won't be hearing anything back from us. Just we want to get a head count. Humble and Fred at humbleandfredradio.com is how you get a hold of us. All right?
Sounds good. Going to be fun. Going to be nice. Going to be pleasant.
So this whole December has come up quickly because here we are, just 3 weeks from Christmas.
Yeah.
Time to do Christmas shopping. I've already done my shopping for Dan.
Oh, have you?
No,
it's right there.
Yeah, no.
A cheese board?
No, not the cheese board. The mouse. Mouse is right back there.
He's going to re-gift the gift I gave him last year.
Giving him a mouse.
It's a mouse.
He likes a nice
bag.
mouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, Johnny Slapshot is 12 years old today. My boy.
Wow.
Hard to believe, eh? 12.
Yeah.
1 year away from a teenager, Johnny Slapshot. And he's got a phone now, so I can text him a happy birthday message. Man.
He's got a phone.
Yeah, when did he get the phone?
Recently. So.
Wow.
It's a tough one. They struggled with it, but what do you do? And all the other kids have one. It's like things we didn't have to deal with.
No, of course not.
I remember that struggle with Colton, but he had one of those iPods.
Yes.
That had, but then the later version of them, it was there was a little bit of internet access to it, so they could do a little bit of.
Didn't I give him an old iPad?
iPad? No.
I thought I gave him something like that, some electronic that didn't have internet access. I just gave it to him. It might have been an iPad, or it might have. I don't think it was an iPod.
Yeah,
but I remember having that conversation with Spencer, because Charlie got a cell phone. I don't know, 14, 15. And then Spencer was like at 12 saying, how come I don't get a phone? And I said, when Mommy and Daddy got their first cell phone? When they were invented. When they finally got invented.
Which is a good question. Although John had he had a phone that he used sort of like as an iPod, and I think had some texting, and then they decided to buy a bit of a cell plan. So, but hey, And I know, Howard, because you had one of the primitive cell phones, like an actual phone in the car, but I was trying to think, cell phones as we know them today, I was trying to think, when would I have...
Well, you would have got a BlackBerry. Did you not? Because I had a
No, I never had a BlackBerry.
You didn't, eh?
No.
I didn't. Me neither.
Because I had a couple BlackBerries, but I definitely had a car phone. The first car phone that I had actually was a receiver, like a phone receiver with a squiggly cord.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as kids getting their cell phones at 12, because I don't see anything wrong with it. I think as a parent nowadays, it's almost from a security thing. You kind of want to have access to them.
Well, I guess, I mean, our parents didn't, but again, that's no excuse nowadays. I think you can sum it up this way. I think we all wish we weren't here, but we are, and you just have to adjust to it. So it'd be great if nobody had to buy their kids a cell phone. I mean, from the cost and, the attention it takes. But, it's just where we're at.
And it's not like, the fact is our parents didn't seem to want to know where we were the same way that, that we did and our kids with their kids do. Like, we've had this discussion before, but I sometimes makes me laugh a little bit. Like, did my parents were they not concerned where I was for hours and hours a day?
But you see, that's part of because they didn't worry about the things that parents worry about nowadays. And part of the reason parents worry about stuff is because of social media and the internet, reading and being aware of all these horrible stories that were somewhere, not that they didn't exist when our parents were a lot younger, they just didn't know about them. You didn't get a constant barrage of information that you get now that freaks a lot of parents out.
And also, if you don't have, if you imagine to your parents or Dan or my mom and dad, imagine saying to them, hey, you can actually call me wherever I am, whenever you want to, as opposed to, after school, if I was going to go to Dan's house to play, which is what we used to do when we were kids.
Right. Yes.
I'm not even sure I told my parents I was going to Dan's house to play. If I was there and I was going to be there for dinner, that would be a thing you would call your mom and dad and say, listen, I'm staying over at Fred's for dinner.
Yeah, you were expected home and dinner. If you didn't show up right after school, no big deal because obviously you played with somebody or whatever. But our fears are way beyond what the reality is.
But I was just going to say, Dan, it's not just our fears or our awareness. It's not just that. It's the fact that it didn't exist. So it wasn't expected.
Yeah, that's true too.
But if your son or my daughters or Fred's sons and daughters and grandchildren, if you didn't come home from school, if a kid nowadays, even our kids, if my kids didn't come home from school, it wouldn't just be like, well, I guess they're playing somewhere.
Well, I remember maybe not coming home from school, getting caught up in something, coming home, and the issue was that my dinner was sitting there and I didn't eat it. It really wasn't, where were you? We were terrified that somebody had taken you. It was like, your dinner's sitting here and now it's cold. That was the issue.
But I mean, part of what I'm trying to say is that when the technology didn't exist, it wasn't just fears over what might happen to my little babies. It was just, well, that didn't exist, so why would... Like, I've told you this too, but I lived away from the country for years and only spoke to my parents once in a while. Yeah, imagine, like my daughters, Charlie travels quite a bit for her job, and like I know where they are. Like we know where they are
every minute
of the day. If they're on the family chat, I just have to look at my phone. Oh, now Charlie's coming home. Isn't that sweet?
That's funny. Yeah, I remember the day my mom used to ignore phone calls because she couldn't be bothered. Like I've got, I don't need to be that connected. And that was when it was just a phone call. It's like, no, well, why can't answer the phone, Mom? It could be somebody. Nah, I don't care right now.
And you couldn't see who was phoning.
That's right.
Like you can now, right?
Do you remember there was one of the first bits of technology that I remember thinking, that's pretty cool, where you could go, I think it was star 69 and see who had called. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah,
it was a feature.
Yes.
And I was thinking, the future is now. As I took the phone off the fucking wall and stood there,
Yeah.
I remember thinking we were pretty cool. I think Dan and I had, when we were roommates, didn't we have like a a mobile phone, like a home phone that you could take off its cradle and just walk around like you were on TV.
Probably had an antenna. Remember?
Oh, yeah, like a little antenna on it.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's all moved so quickly. It's all moved so quickly.
Now
my first taste of technology, sort of as we know it today, probably in the early 70s. Maybe my mom bought me a Pong game that you hooked up to the television set.
Wow.
And I thought it was and it didn't even keep score on the screen yet. It had a little slider to keep score, but it was just this white dot moving back and forth on the TV screen. And I thought, like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. I can hook this to the TV and control this game. Like it was nuts.
Cut to our kids. When my kids were little, they're playing.
We were ancient. We were ancient.
Our kids were playing. My kids were playing tennis on something called Wii Vibe. Remember this?
Yeah.
Everyone had one of those, and then Guitar Hero was like, "Oh, this is cool." Listen, Dan, I just realized we haven't done the Dan Duran news, and it's almost time for you to freak out and go to the.
Yeah, no, we got to get
somewhere.
Going.
Go somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't want to keep Dan any longer.
Now, here's to a fella named Dan Duran, a hell of a guy with a hella big wang, the quintessential anchor man. His voice is nice and low. Dan Duran, the anchor man, comes. As for credentials, he has none. Can't tell a headline from his bum, but his voice is nice and low. Dan Duran, the anchorman's here. He's prone to falling off his chair, but he's got a big wang, so he don't care, and his voice is nice and low.
My voice is nice and low.
And now live from the condo trailer near a lake covered in snow and ice, here he is, movie anchorman and television series regular Daniel J. Geber Duran III with Humble and Fred News.
Okay, hard-hitting news. Sake brewers in Japan are looking for a boost when UNESCO is set to officially recognize the process of making sake as intangible cultural heritage.
Okay,
All
cool.
the words are being released. So the Oxford University Press Word of the Year is out today, and it is brain rot.
Brain rot?
Brain rot is their word of the year.
I like it.
A rich idiot in Connecticut burned down his entire $3 million mansion by deep frying a turkey in his garage. But let's talk about the real news. Hard-hitting news. Peeing in the shower. Doctors say it's okay. Urologists find it generally safe for both men and women. There's no downside, and it's just convenient for some people, said a doctor at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles. Pee goes down the drain, the same place as the toilet, and urinating in the shower is unlikely to create any health problems, according to the doctors. CP gets washed away. Now, the only caveat is you have an open wound. Urine is the food for bacteria and fungi. Yeah. So, So if it lands on an open wound, it can make the wound harder to heal because now the bacteria has nourishment.
Peeing on the shower is okay. What about peeing on somebody else in the shower, Dan? What do you think about that?
Still okay.
Still okay?
Maybe you should
as long as they don't have an open wound.
Do you think peeing in the shower is something that most people do, but maybe wouldn't admit to it? Oh, no, I wouldn't do that, when in fact, out of the sheer convenience of it, they would.
I don't know who's not peeing in the shower. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, that without question. But who is peeing in the shower and saying that they probably wouldn't do it because, it conveys the wrong image for whatever reason? But
I want to tell you,
do you not notice as you get older, it sort of relaxes your whole bladder and bowel?
Oh, it's very relaxing.
Not bowel. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Bladder.
Are you taking a
warm water?
Okay. I'm with you most of the way until you took a shit in the shower.
Not bowel.
Oh, yeah.
You shit in the shower and then you heel it down the drain. Right.
Different story. Different story.
Yeah, different story. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
And don't pee in the bath. Don't pee in the bath. That's not good.
No. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Dan Frederick, I have a story from real life. A few weeks ago, I was.
Here we go.
Well, this is just part of it. Is this subject is I'm getting old, and I had to go pretty urgently, and I didn't get this urgent feeling.
One or two.
One.
Okay.
And I was standing at the back of the thing while Stan was off having a pee. And for people who don't know, there's a parking lot behind me, and there's places for him to go, and I pick up his stuff.
It's okay for a dog to pee and poo in the
right.
he
poos out there, and so it was nighttime. But I had to go to the bathroom really bad, so I just stood out in the back of it was dark, and I just stood out there and took a leak next to my garage. Just right there, right in the open air, Dan.
That's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I know, but I thought, come on, can you not hold it till the dog's done? I could not.
Oh, I get it.
It was an urgent
But
feeling.
what did you pee against?
Just kind of in front of my garage, just kind of like, I didn't pee against
the pavement?
anything.
Now that's a bit weird.
Well, I peed against it wasn't against anything. I was just peed standing there, letting it freely run into the drain.
Sorry. Yeah, that's a bit much.
Well, where am I supposed to pee? Up against a tree?
On ground, yeah. Why wouldn't you go to that little area where there's grass?
Because
and a
I was
tree?
standing out. First of all, I didn't want anyone to see me. I'm standing out my back door, peeing onto the pavement.
Yeah, but that's to me. That's
why is the pavement worse than the ground?
Well, because the ground would absorb it.
Well, the pavement absorbed it.
But people could walk.
They're not. No one's. First of all, no one's walking there at night.
You don't know that. You could have gone inside. Somebody could have walked right through your piss.
Have you ever been in a parking lot with those parkades where the people pill?
And it's
stairwell. It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing. It wasn't a stairwell. One time I came home and a friend of mine, I was on the phone with somebody, and I said, "There's some old guy." This was a couple of years ago. I said, "This is the middle of the day. Some old guy," I said, "is peeing up against the side of my building." And without hesitating, he said, "Oh, that's good luck." I said, "What?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, everyone." He says, "Yeah, that's like a sign of good luck." I said, "I don't think having a homeless person pee against the side of your building is good luck."
Yeah, but he has an excuse. He's probably mentally ill. What's your excuse?
Well,
here's the deal.
Same thing.
I retract what I said, because when you were telling that story, I said nothing wrong with that. I thought you had gone across where the little grass section and
where
the
dog
bushes are.
goes. Where the dog knows to go, yeah.
Yes, well, I didn't.
But wow, that's weird. That is a bit weird. Like right on, that's like pissing where you eat or whatever, where they say shitting where you eat. Like right on the pavement, right in front of your own place.
I did it right there, right in front of my own place. Yeah. Oh well.
On the wall too, or just right
all over the garage, all over the garage door.
I bet.
Oh yeah. I just said, fuck it, let it go. We got to go. Speaking of which, we got to go. Thanks to Darren Frost and to Josh. That was great. Tomorrow, Bill Brio will be here, and Bill's always a great guest. Always fun chatting with him. And then Jeff Merrick returns to our program on the Wednesday, which will be interesting as well. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. And Dan Duran, why don't you? Are we gonna? But before I do this, are you going to be at the trailer tomorrow? Are you ever going to leave the trailer?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure at this point.
No,
maybe not. Depends what I get done up here today, and how I feel about traveling back.
Well, that must be fun doing stuff up there when it's -7. Sign me up.
Well, yeah, I don't know what stuff you're doing. You can't leave it's too cold to leave the fucking condo.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
All right, people, here's Dan Duran.
It's -30 out in Western Canada.
Whatever.
We're not there.
Yeah,
we're not there.
Okay.
Nobody in Western Canada is in a fucking trailer right now.
The legendary Humble and Fred Show was brought to you by the Retirement Sherpa, the Chambers Plan, 4-on-1, Bodog, our newest sponsor, Ridley Funeral Home, and Kelsey's Original Roadhouse. For contests and comments where you read all the emails, Humble and Fred at humbleandfredradio.com. Tell us what you think. Humble and Fred at humbleandfredradio.com. And subscribe. Maybe help us out by rating the podcast, sharing the episode. Be great. Thank you. From the Kyler Mann Zoom Theater, I'm Dan Duran. And remember, be like Howard and don't worry about the price of things. Just buy them. And don't be like Howard. Don't pee on pavement. And enjoy every goddamn day.
Got two turntables and a microphone.